for joining us on this Monday for Fox 10 Talks. I'm Marc Martinez with Ellen McNamara.
Yeah. Hey guys, what's up?
How was your weekend aside from the Cardinals game?
Yeah, it was
tough.
good. Yeah, it was kind of busy. The weather was awesome.
So nice.
Wasn't it?
Oh,
I
man.
felt like we've kind of like finally broken the heat a little bit.
Yeah, it was a little misleading though. I was like, oh, it feels nice. I'm going to go out to do some yard work.
Yeah.
And it was still about 85 degrees. So I was out there for about an hour and I was like, okay, that was enough. I'll wait until we get in the 70s.
I know. Yeah, we put up the 12-foot skeleton at our house. So we did that. My son was so excited. But yeah, we got that Home Depot 12-footer up and it was great.
I'm going to need to see pictures when this is, well, it's up now, right?
It's up
because
now.
I
Yes,
saw your
I can.
photos
Yeah,
on Instagram,
I got to show you.
The leg was like that big off the ground.
Yes, it's huge.
So, yeah.
We got it up, but the weather was great for that. So we got that
Yeah.
up. And I mean, it's October. So, oh my gosh, Halloween's going to be here in a couple weeks.
It's wild. I know. I was out at the store seeing everyone buying their pumpkins and things like that. It may still be a little bit early for that, for our weather. But
Yes.
I think people are trying to kind of force us into that fall vibe, start decorating and make it feel like we're ready for the cooler temps.
I know. Yeah, it's crazy. But it felt great. I felt like this weekend, I was like, yes, this is great.
Yeah,
it's almost
finally.
here.
Turned a corner.
I
Summer
know.
wasn't too bad, though, so not too much.
Yeah, I mean, we can't complain too much,
No.
but no, I feel like but at the same time though, I'm always like, gosh, I can't believe we're already in October though.
I know.
Like I'm like, what?
I did have to check my calendar literally the other day. I was like, wait, what? Where are we?
Yeah.
But
what did you do? What did Wyatt do?
Wyatt went in the pool. My dog Wyatt. He went in the pool several times. He's still thinking it's summertime. I did a lot of the yard work and I kind of just chilled out. I sort of just had a relaxing. The weekends go by so fast that I try not to like overload myself with anything to do.
Mm-hmm.
And so I had some downtime. It was really nice.
Nice. Yeah. Wyatt, the chocolate lab, he's awesome. So
He's loving life. He's just like I'm there to help him out. That's for sure.
Love it.
We got a lot to talk about though for this Monday on Fox 10.
We
Talks.
do, yeah, and some interesting topics too. I know we're going to talk about the housing market. Housing market it's interesting because like the fall elsewhere is kind of a slow period for some places, but the fall is a really kind of a hot time here in the Phoenix area because this is the time now where everyone is moving back. The snowbirds are coming back to the valley. So this is kind of a good time actually to put the house back on the market. Maybe if it didn't sell in the summer, we're going to talk about that. We're also going to talk about tipping and why Gen Z, they just don't tip people apparently.
Yeah.
For some reason.
They're a little stingy, apparently, when it comes to tipping bartenders specifically. So, we're going to talk about those issues. Let's start with the housing market. I believe we have our guest with us, Haleema Rahim. Tell us about yourself, Haleema. You're a real estate expert, and I believe you're in the Dallas-Fort Worth area.
I am, and I'm with Keller Williams, Dallas Preston Road office. I'm the Fortified team. Sorry. Yeah.
Awesome. So, okay. So I was just saying that, the fall here in the Phoenix area, it's actually a great time to sell a house. And I know that we've been talking a lot about interest rates and, everyone's, it's just not a great time to sell a house right now. What are you seeing right now? Because interest rates have finally gone down just a little bit and we've been hearing that they're going to continue to go down. So is that good news for the housing market in general?
Actually, it is a great news. People have been waiting for the interest rate to go down for a very long time, and that has increased 70%. Buyers are coming out more to buy the houses now. It is a perfect buyer market since, people were waiting for so long, to buy. The houses were sitting on the market for so long, so that gives buyer a negotiation window to buy and negotiate. And, the sellers are like getting kind of frustrated as well with the market, and they are willing to negotiate the pricing. So it is definitely a buyer market.
And Haleema, when you kind of were just talking about it right there about negotiating, we're seeing, in fact, recent numbers show about 19.9% of listings had some price cuts in the last month or so because in that median kind of range, not the super high-end houses, but are we seeing that sellers are now more willing to reduce the price of their house to get it sold or to be more maybe reflective of where the market is?
They really are. The houses priced 500 and lower are actually going from 21 to 23% lower reduction for the prices. Yes, the house is million and up, kind of like it's on 13 to 15% range. But it is like this market has changed like a lot since last year in a good way for the buyers, I would say.
So if someone is trying to buy a house and they
Mhm.
come to you and they say, "Hey, I want to buy a house," where do you start? I mean, obviously you're looking at location and you're looking at whatnot. Do you go to something that maybe has been sitting on the market for a while to kind of get them a better deal, or where do you start?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, anything on the market that's been sitting for a long time would be the first target because so much more negotiation window. The other thing that I'm seeing a lot is the new builds. It's a lot
Mm.
of my clients are leaning towards the new builds because they're offering lower interest rate. They are buying down the points for you. Some of them are offering big chunk towards the incentives that you can use to buy down the points more, or you can even use it towards the closing costs. So a lot of people are leaning toward the new builds.
Yeah, we've seen that out here a lot. We in the Phoenix metro area.
Mm-hmm.
It's especially if you get outside to the East or West Valley. There's a lot more land to build new builds. So we've
Yeah.
seen those really becoming popular, especially for what you were just talking about, being able to buy down some of those that rate a little bit for the builders and make it more enticing. And then also when you're buying a new build, you have fewer things to deal with when you're talking about the inspections. It's not going to need a new roof. It's not
Right.
going to need a lot of work. Is that also enticing for people who may be looking to buy?
It definitely is. Again, like you said, you're getting everything brand new. Everything is covered under the warranty. For 20 years, you're covered. You don't have to worry about anything. You don't want to have to worry about the seller disclosure if there was any damage to the house. All those good things come in. I really encourage in this market to go for the new builds if that's something, you guys want to do.
So let's say that someone is trying to sell a house right now and they're not having a lot of luck. I know every situation can be unique, but if someone has a house that has been sitting on the market for a while, what is kind of your advice to them right now?
There are two ways to go. It depends. Some people really have to sell ASAP, and I would be like, okay, if we're getting a little bit lower offer, and I have done it with my clients, I'm like, let's just go for it. But if they can wait, I will tell them to wait. Or if they really have to move again, depending on their situation, renting out is a great idea too. The houses are renting out really fast because some people are holding out to buy the houses for the interest rate to come down, and they're leaning towards the renting. So that would be another great option in my eyes.
When the prices started really skyrocketing, COVID era kind of time, and inventory was down, there were so many people out there who really thought they would never be able to own a home. It just
Mm.
seemed completely out of reach. For many people, it may still be, but are you seeing maybe people who are kind of feeling a little more encouraged now? Interest rates coming down, inventory going up. Are they thinking, well, maybe I can afford to do this if they crunch the numbers and make it work?
It definitely is, like from last month, it's 17% more increase for the buyers coming out, and people are getting more comfortable with interest right now. Some are still waiting though, but it has made a huge difference, and I'm pretty sure it's going to increase a lot more in future as well.
Mm.
Um,
Yeah, I know you're in the DFW area, and obviously we're in the Phoenix area, and both areas just saw explosive growth during the pandemic. Are you still seeing some of that growth right now, or has that kind of been backed off a little bit, Halima?
There is still a increase. Like in Dallas area, it's
Mm-hmm.
still they are building nonstop here. The market is still crazy here. People
Mm.
are, I mean, I know the interest rate has been high, but if we compare with other states in US, Dallas has been doing really good. And since, all these big head offices moving to Dallas area, Universal Studio coming to Frisco area,
Mm.
it's making it very attractive market because all these head offices and all these, moving here is getting employees coming in as well. So it gets very attractive for people, to buy houses here.
Yeah.
Now, on the, we've been talking about buyers and sellers. Let's talk about real estate agents real quick. What would you tell someone
That's a good
if they
question.
were looking into getting into selling real estate, if they were new at this? What would your advice be to someone, especially like with this market right now?
Advice for selling, you mean, right?
Yeah, if somebody wanted to become a realtor, what would you tell them?
Oh, I would say it's a great field. I love it since I got into it. It's not easy as some people think it is. It's pretty tough, but once you get into the system, build all those connections, it's all about building connections. I love the flexibility of hours I have, but at the same time, I end up working very long hours
Yeah.
too. But it's a great field. It's a great field, and I've been loving it. Yes.
Yeah, and I know, we've both worked with realtors in the past, and
Yeah.
it's a demanding job. You guys are getting calls all the time.
Yeah, and you're working all the weekends too. It's like I think that's the thing. It can be very glamorous. There's all these television shows
Yeah.
out there, HGTV. There's like $1 Million Listing. All these shows out there that think it's this very glamorous. You're going to make all this money and whatnot. But I mean, when you first get started, you really have to
working.
put in the work all the time.
You really do. It's a lot of hours. And I was looking at the stats for this year. 70% of the agents didn't even sell a single property. So it's pretty hard market. I know it looks glamorous. I work sometime till 9 or 10 p.m. It's not easy, but again, I love doing it. I enjoy it a lot.
And for buyers and sellers, finding that real estate agent that works well with you and is putting in the work that you are, and that really makes a difference, I think.
Yeah. And you don't get paid until you sell a house or you buy a house for somebody, right? That's the other thing too.
Yes, that is so true. And even with the new builds, even if I sign a contract now, if the house is not built until like another 4, 5, 6 months, whenever the time is, I won't get paid by
Wow.
then. So I just patiently wait. I know.
Yeah.
Well, we appreciate you talking to us. And again, just as far as somebody who might be looking to sell at this point, it sounds like they're going to have to willing to be a little bit flexible with the pricing, maybe depending on where the prices of the house is.
Yes, that's exactly what I would say. A little bit of flexibility would help them a lot, but some, sellers just want to stick to the price, which I understand. They're like, hey, we are actually gonna go with the check at the closing. We don't want to pay. We want to at least get something or get to the even. But again, flexibility would be great if you really want to sell. Work with the agent, build that connection with the agent. That's the super important thing, and you have to find an agent you trust.
Yeah, makes a difference.
It does. I know you were talking about some of the places that, in the area that DFW, same thing here. We have so
Yeah.
many companies that are continuing to move here. I mean, TSMC,
Yes.
I mean, some
So much
headquarters,
growth.
so much growth also happening here in the Valley where we are. So I know that is only going to continue. We have a lot of similarities from the Valley here and also the DFW area. So it is interesting to talk about that. So
Yeah. Haleema, thank you for joining us. We really appreciate your insight and your expertise on this issue.
Of course. Thank you so much for
All
having
right.
me. I appreciate it. You guys have a great rest of the day. Thank you.
Yeah.
You too. Thanks.
thanks.
I've noticed in my neighborhood, there are several houses that have been for sale for a while.
Yeah.
And I just checked it. They're dropping the prices.
Yeah.
They're like, we got to, it sits too long. It's not great.
Yeah. And, Steve Nielsen last week had a story too about how a lot of people have just pulled their listings off the market altogether.
Yeah. They're gonna try
So
to wait it out.
that is also happening too.
All right. We're going to be talking tips when we come right back. Stay with us.
Okay. Keep it right here. Welcome back to 5% Talks on this Monday. I'm Ellen McNamara, and you guys know who this guy is.
Marc Martinez. I hope you know.
Yeah. All right. So it is about happy hour time-ish, I guess, on this Monday.
Well, that's early, Ellen.
Right? Is it too
I
early?
think they'll start around 3.
Okay, it's about 3-ish, I guess. It's 5 o'clock somewhere. I always like to say that. But we are talking tipping, and an article recently came out, and it found, according to a survey, that Gen Z, so Gen Z, we're talking about if you were born 1990s, ish
they think they say 97 to 2012.
Okay.
I looked that up because I'm always getting confused.
Okay.
Which gen is which?
Yeah. So Gen Z, that's who we're talking about. They don't like to tip. And basically like 38% of Gen Z, they do not tip.
Wow.
Like don't tip at all, according to this survey. So to talk a little bit more about that, we are going to bring in Derek Sims. And Derek Sims has a number of employees, hundreds of employees actually, owns a number of restaurant concepts. So Derek, we thought you'd be great to talk about this. Yeah, you know about tipping because you got a lot of employees. So Derek, we're glad that you could join us. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, we can hear you fine.
We gotcha. So
Perfect.
Derek, when did you notice this kind of becoming an issue with tipping for you and for your employees, as far as people maybe not so generous, or in some cases, like Ellen was saying, not tipping at all, which is so crazy to me. I can't think about that.
Well, it's an interesting time right now. I think people looking to Europe and looking at other things where they don't have a tipping system. It's just different than the Americas, and the tip system is set up perfectly for the restaurant industry. It helps compensate the restaurants, the bartenders, the service staff, which have a misconception that they don't get paid enough. There's a misconception that they only get paid like $2 or $2.25 or $3 an hour. But the truth of the matter is they get paid actually the most at the restaurant. So the tip system has actually worked out perfectly because the restaurants restaurants, the reality is they make very small margins. It's a hard business. And the tip system is set up to pay and help that restaurant survive and also provide the service and the service staff needed to make that service work, make the whole restaurant work. It's all built around that tipping system, and it's important. And then people are looking to like change it because they think they can make it better by the way Europe does it. But Europe does it differently, and we just do it different than they do here. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Is it more economy or more cultural that people are not tipping as much?
It's become more cultural, thinking that there's a better system, that the company should pay more. They should pay more higher wages. But what they don't understand is that it's not set up for that. And if you do that with all the small margin, like they said, there's only like a 5% margin in restaurants. So if you start paying more on the payroll to the staff, the restaurant will go out of business. And all of our favorite restaurants, all the bartending, all the fun things that we like to do to go out will not exist. It's just impossible to do it. There's not enough margin to do it. So it's a mandatory part of the system we have built in America. It's a mandatory part of it.
Do you find that Gen Z doesn't go out as much in general anyway? Like, do you find that at your restaurants that like it's an older crowd anyway?
There's 3 things kind of happening right now. One being that Gen Z is looking forward to change policy. They like to do that. They want it. People are looking for better ways. 2, Ozempic has taken a big role. No one thinks about it that way, but we all eat less and drink less and consume less than we did before. And it's a big sector of the business is that people are just not having as much as they are not needing as much as they did before, which is a good thing for health, but also a bad thing for restaurants, right? And then 3, we're in a hard economy. We're coming off of COVID still lingers. We're still recovering. Everyone's recovering. And people are spending less than they used to. Everyone watches. And the first thing to go is restaurants, and especially on the bar side, the bartending, the expensive drinks. No one's buying expensive bottles of wine. We're not selling really expensive bottles of liquor anymore. So it's mainly just cocktails and drinks, and people are very choosy and selective in what they buy.
And we've also seen a lot of studies that we've covered recently that shows Gen Z are drinking less than previous generations.
Absolutely. Non-alcoholic cocktails are a very, very powerful thing right now, which is also a good thing. But non-alcoholic cocktails we don't have a lot of track record with that. So we're learning how to really adapt with non-alcoholic cocktails. And we have almost every restaurant that wants to survive nowadays has a non-alcoholic option and non-alcoholic cocktails, which I think is good.
It is good, but the other part of that too is I think the general rule of thumb, or at least in the past, has been like $1 to $2 tip per cocktail if you're going to tip. But I've seen people say that they don't feel like they should tip as much for a non-alcoholic drink because they're not getting alcohol. Does that make any sense? Are you seeing that?
It makes no sense. Because remember, I told you that it is all structured around getting, you want that restaurant there. If you want that atmosphere, you want that service. If you want that, if you don't want that, then you don't go out. But everybody wants that. Everybody wants to go out, enjoy themselves. And if you want that there, then you have to understand that this is an important part of the restaurant business. This is how it works.
Yeah. This is crazy.
Yeah.
I like having fun, you know. Like I said, I like happy hour, right? So this is crazy to me that this is not kind of a thing.
The moral is, don't go after the restaurants. There's a lot of businesses that make 30-40%. If you want your restaurants to be there and you enjoy going out, which all of us do, then you have to understand and be empathetic and be like, okay, this is how it works. This is how the service staff get paid. There is a very low margin in the restaurant business, and this is I have to understand this. I'm not gonna try to fight this. It's just really the wrong perception, and we need more people just speaking how it is. It's kind of, you know, it's hard to tell somebody, hey, I don't make that much money, so can you please? You're helping keep that business afloat, and the restaurant business is a mandatory thing. It's an essential service.
Yeah.
In what we need today, it is an essential service because you want that to go out. You know,
Derek, I think. I noticed this. I think a lot of us did during COVID pandemic, where you were tipping now for everything, things that you hadn't tipped for before. When we all started getting the iPads handed to us, you know, we weren't used to it. Things that previously you wouldn't tip for. I'm not talking about the restaurant industry.
Yeah.
I'm wondering if there's a little bit of backlash that you guys are now feeling from that, because people are like, I'm so tired of tipping everywhere I go, and then maybe it kind of impacts you as well because it's like tipping fatigue.
And it's not your fault, obviously.
There is tipping fatigue, and there's also a little bit of fraud. I see some restaurants accidentally or on purpose, I'm not sure, give you the suggestions and it says 20% and it's not really 20 when you calculate it. I've seen places in Las Vegas that actually will suggest 40 when that's 25%. Wow. So there's a lot going on with that, and you should still count. But at the end of the day, it's not about the limited fraud we have. It's about the fact that you want that business to be there, and you want to also take care of your staff. These servers, these bartenders are not making they're making a fair wage, but they're also not saving a lifetime of money away. It's not you know what I mean? So it's kind of thing that if you like that kind of business and you want to support it, it should be something that you want to just happily give over. And it's going to take a little education for that to do that. You happily like, I want this to be here. I enjoy this. This is my fun. I'm going to go ahead and spend the $5 extra to give them a good tip.
And we had a question in the chat about what was the most people tip in your restaurant. I guess percentage wise, what do you see kind of an average there? Are people?
Yeah, it averages out to 20%. I mean, That's what it averages out to. So it is good. We do see some complaints, and there are some people that tip less and some people that tip more. Of all things, Europeans tip a little less, and I don't mean that in a mean way. Just that they have a different system. So their system is where they add $5 to everybody that sits down automatically out the gate. So that it's a service charge. We don't have service charges on the bills. We actually just have the tip system. So it's more of an optional system. If you look to think of it that way, you get to choose how much you tip, which is kind of cool. So it's interesting, you know. But yes, it averages 20% most of the time. If people work a good 40-hour work week, it'll average at 20% as of right now, and we hope it stays that way.
I know you're a host of the Whiskey Table podcast. Tell me a little bit about that. What is that?
So we have access to these fantastic distilleries, fantastic whiskeys. We buy 10 or 15 barrels of whiskey a year, where we get to go and grab the barrel directly from the distiller. These, like the Russells, which make Wild Turkey. We get to meet these people. And so I decided that this is interesting and I have access to do this. Let's actually film this. Let's talk about it. So the Whiskey Table is a great little podcast that explains about the whiskey business. There are a lot of people that are into bourbons and brown spirits, tequila. If you're into that kind of thing, you can learn a lot about the industry and also learn a lot about the inside look at distilleries and how they work.
Kind of the whole process behind it. I went to something like that here years ago about mezcal, how to make it, the process of it. And it is pretty fascinating when you break it down to see the whole process of it and then the end product. So is that why people are tuning in and listening to your podcast?
Yeah, we're getting a lot of people. They're very interested. There's a lot of whiskey and tequila geeks, and I'm one of those people. And I just felt like it's very interesting to learn. A lot of people are naive when it comes to like how distilling works and how it goes from grain to spirit. And since we have so much access to it and we serve it in all of our bars, we have five bars and restaurants here in Dallas. We thought it'd be really interesting to kind of cover that, and we do, and it's a lot of fun.
Cool.
I always think it's fascinating to think about who was the first person to realize that
Yeah.
if you do this a certain way, you got this product, and oh wow, that's pretty good. Somebody way back.
Yeah,
in the
they
day.
were just trying to store it, and and house it, and then next thing you know, they're like, wait, hold on, this is turning brown. Wait, hold on, this is actually tasting pretty good. And that's
wait, hold on, I'm getting a buzz.
developed to where we are now. So it's kind of fun.
What is, like, in your opinion, what's like the number one whiskey?
Okay, well, there's no right answer to that question, but
Okay.
you do. There are some nice ones. I personally like the Buffalo Trace collection. They had some high-end stuff. They're a big brand. On the smaller side, I like a company, a little secret called Michter's. And here in Texas, I like a company called Bent Distillery. These are the three kind of like tiers. You got the ultra big Buffalo Trace, you got the middle size one, and then you get the small one, which is Bent. They're all really good. And if you fancy a little spicier one, you like a rye. A rye uses a fourth grain, and ryes are another fun. And Angel's Envy rye is the really popular one in that world.
Well, Derek, we really appreciate Derek Sims joining us. We learned why it's important to tip, and also we learned something about whiskey and some brown spirits. So
awesome.
We appreciate you being with us today. Thanks.
Thanks for having me. Thank you.
Thanks, Derek.
All right.
Now, I will admit, I'm not a whiskey person or bourbon person.
Yeah.
I've tried it.
Mm-hmm.
It's not my thing.
Yeah, I know. It's a little too much for me.
Yeah.
But again, a lot of people are really into it, and there are those geeks out there.
Yeah.
So yeah, I would
Ron
recommend.
Burgundy loved his scotch.
No, he did. Scotchity, scotch. A lot of news anchors
Classic.
do too.
Old
So the
school.
Whiskey Table podcast, you can look up Derek Sims with that too.
Yeah.
So yeah, we learned a lot today.
We did. And the housing, what's funny is both of our guests are from Texas.
I know.
Today.
We did.
The housing market situation here, as we were talking, very similar. So
Very similar. Very
talk
similar.
about that. So, well, I'm going to do the 4:00 news for John
Oh,
today.
you are? Okay.
He's on assignment.